Welcome to the BZY-B Wind Down, where we have fresh sips, industry tips, cruising on ships, and all that shit. The one podcast where you have dance, travel, lifestyle, and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Bounce, and I guess I got time today. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the BZY-B Wind Down. I am your host, Bounce, and I guess I got time today. I'm super excited and just very grateful for the person that I am speaking with today. She is my best friend. Literally came into my life at such a different time while I was on a cruise, and we were the first people to meet each other, and pretty much the only person I really talk to now. We have 2 years of friendship, but a life worth of love for each other. She is my best friend, my amazing sister, little sister, baby daughter. She is the amazing Miss Tess Liantonio. What's up, boo? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. You know, this is a new journey for me, but I cannot be more grateful to have you on here as my 6th guest on the 6th episode. So today we're going to be talking about some amazing things, mostly about simply how to build a better business connections. And if it's somebody I love talking about business with, it's definitely Tess. So we'll be getting into that conversation. But before we get into it, what brand of wine are you drinking? What's your choice of wine for this episode?
I have some lovely Apothic Red. Cheers.
My favorite! Well, for me, I am drinking Coppola Diamond Collection Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm finishing this bottle. This is my new one. Normally, so I'm gonna say cheers to you. Cheers. And we're gonna get into this conversation. So, Tess, tell everybody, where are you from?
Okay, so I am born and raised in New York on Long Island. I have been dancing literally my entire life. Probably so cliche, like for every dancer. When I graduated high school, my senior year of high school, my parents were like, okay, we're moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. At the time, I was kind of at a crossroads, and I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to pursue dance professionally or get the traditional 4-year college. So I decided to go to UNC Charlotte for about 2 years. And I was on dance scholarship there, and I was on a dance team. And after about 2 years, I kind of realized that I needed to step up my training and I needed to move back to New York. So I enrolled in Broadway Dance Center's training program for 6 months, which fed right into the professional semester for 4. Really just kind of dedicating myself to training in my craft. And I've been fortunate enough to be working consistently in the industry since. Yeah.
And now you're literally living your life as a professional dancer. Like, what is that? Like, that's something we've all dreamed about. And a lot of people are still dreaming about, and we're doing it. We're literally doing it, which is the best part.
Yeah.
I've been asking everybody this question during this time, and since I've started this podcast that I feel like is very prominent with what's going on right now, but I've asked everybody, what is something that you've learned about yourself that you've had to let go of, or something that you've learned about yourself that you're now like, okay, this is a part of who I am, and the growth I've received in this time that you learned during quarantine? What is it that you feel has been like the most prominent thing that you've learned during this time?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I think during this time in quarantine, something that I've learned, something that I've always known, but I feel like now I actually had the opportunity to practice it, was letting go what I thought was going to be my path or what I thought was going to be my plan, and really listening for me to God, listening to the universe and what was going on around me, and letting go of some things along the way and kind of embracing this new norm instead of fighting it, really just kind of embracing it. And I've been really fortunate to, you know, evolve and grow and step into this new chapter in my life. So there's been some highs and lows throughout the last couple of months, but right now I'm on the upswing.
I love it. I love it. I feel like I definitely agree. I know we've talked about it. It's definitely been a learning stage and a growth stage in the best way, although it may be hard. The time we're spending with ourselves is the most valuable and unforeseen time, that we could ever have. We're not going to get this anytime soon. It might happen again, of course, but we're not going to get this still time anytime soon to really learn and hone in on who we are as people, and even relearn ourselves and reinvent ourselves that's best for us and for the impact we have on others. I know that you've definitely grown, so I'm excited. I'm excited to continue seeing the growth. I know that life throws curveballs, but I feel like that's one thing with me and you. If something I learned about you when I first met you was that you are a warrior. Your Italian side sticks out. You fight.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so grateful to even be in your presence to, learn from you visual as well. So I love that.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
So of course, like I said, today is all about like building better business connections and expanding yourself as an artist. Do you have your own business?
At the moment, I am my own business. I'm in the process, hopefully over the next 6 months. My goal is by the new year to have my own company where I teach virtually and in person, and I take my workshop to wherever studios would like to have me come in.
Yeah.
And then build off of that brand. My ultimate goal is to have my own dance studio, specifically here in Charlotte, North Carolina, actually. So,
I like that. I like that. Those Southern roots are something else.
Yes.
I know that you have a wide array of areas you've trained in as far as dance. So where all have you trained with dance?
So dance, studios growing up, I actually never did competitions. My parents were just kind of like, we really want you to keep it fun, keep it light, and do the recreational classes. But I took all the competition classes and I knew all of the dances. I just never participated in that. And I lived in New York, and so on Long Island specifically. So for me to go take the train into the city and go to auditions, I always wanted to, but my parents were kind of strict on that. They really just wanted me to take class and just dance. So growing up with studios, my junior year of high school, I actually switched studios to train under a Radio City Rockette, which is like my ultimate, dream job.
The goal, man.
And yeah. And I was fortunate enough that my freshman year of college, I was on a dance scholarship there, and that was very contemporary, modern, ballet-based. And at Broadway Dance Center, bulk of my training was actually was a ballet major, if you will, because I felt like my technique really lacked. So I was like, I'm going to make my weakness a strength. So really, I was in 7 ballet classes a week. Crazy.
What?
And
yeah. Knows ballet knows it's not easy, even if it looks the most graceful. It's so hard.
It was, but I really just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity that I was taking 12 classes at Broadway Dance Center a week for a year. I knew that I would never have that opportunity again to really just immerse myself in my training. So I was like, I'm going to take every advantage of this opportunity. And believe it or not, my training at BDC was ballet, but it was also theater based, right? It's in New York, and it's hilarious because, or not hilarious, but my resume is very commercial. It's very TV and film and hip hop and heels, and it's like complete polar opposite of what I trained in.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other discussion. But yeah, that's my training.
I love it. So, okay, so with your goals of your business, do you feel like you're going to center it kind of around how you were trained, or are you gonna just expand on what you like trained in and worked in, and like taking a fusion of both of them? Like what is your ultimate goal for your business when your 6 month mark comes up and you're like, okay, it's time to bring it out to the forefront? What is the ultimate goal?
So for the workshops that I want to do, specifically they're going to be that showgirl heel style. I started taking heels classes at a time in my life where I was really low on self-confidence. My self-esteem was like at a 0.
Yeah.
And for me, it was so incredible stepping into a heel, stepping into this empowering, feeling in class. And from there, I really grew in my self-confidence. And I feel like it's such a gift that I've been able to receive from my teachers and from my mentors that I would love to pull from my toolbox of my training and from what I've learned on jobs.
Yeah.
And give back to others. Specifically,
Right.
though, my workshops are actually going to be more catered towards the non-dancers. I want it to be for everyone, for every,
recreational is
mom.
now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's missing. So I love that. I love that you're like really focusing on like the everyday person and people that really just enjoy it and maybe might find something more out of it once they're doing it recreational versus feeling like they're forced to be in a professional class where they're trying to have recreational time. Like that's
Exactly.
It's so prominent right now I feel like, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like the times and where they are is taking us back to simplistic and understanding just like it's okay just to chill and enjoy what you have and stop trying to be something more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like the dance world is definitely taking a shift. How do you feel about the shift that's been going on in the dance world, and has it affected you business-wise?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was living in Midtown Manhattan when, Rona hit, and every job that I had lined up for the rest of the year, I got my courtesy email saying, hey, we love you. We want to keep you for the job. We have to keep bumping it back because of regulations and all that good stuff. And of course, I want everybody to be safe and healthy. So I'm kind of just like still kind of sort of like waiting around to see when production for certain commercials and things like that are going to pick back up again.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough that I've been kept along the way. I know several of my friends and colleagues have, unfortunately production has had to go in a different direction. Or production is completely stopped.
Yeah.
So it's definitely affected everybody differently. For me, back in March, I called my dad and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to come back to Charlotte for just like a few weeks, maybe like a couple of months, and ended up coming back here like permanently.
Good, for a good minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in the East Coast, just to like preferences for everybody. I'm in LA. She is now in North Carolina, was in New York. At the time, y'all's also pretty much your side, like East Coast, pretty much started in March as well, yeah? See, which is crazy because, I'm from Texas, and then it's like Central didn't really get the effect of it until probably a month later, and West Coast and East Coast were already on it. It started on my birthday, March 15th, out here in LA. So I know New York wasn't like too far behind.
No, it's crazy. I had my cousin's wedding beginning of March, and literally by that next Friday, they started closing things, and I was on the phone with my dad, and he was like, "You got to get out of there." Like, it was almost like the world was just shutting down. But specifically, I remember, I want to say it was St. Patrick's Day. Specifically, they closed all the bars and restaurants because they didn't want anybody.
Yeah, it's a big holiday in America for drinking. So.
Exactly.
Cheers to that. We did a lot of fun times on the ship of drinking.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, St. Patty's Day especially. So I know that.
And your birthday.
Oh, and my birthday, yeah, which is 2 days before. So we was drinking for some days.
Yep.
Do you feel that as an artist, you're learning about business is like important? Like, I know that as artists, I feel like sometimes like artists don't worry about the business side because they're like, oh, they'll take care of us and I don't need to know about it, because they know everything that we need to, not knowing that people can screw you over and people can go a different route, or people can kind of get over on you because they know you aren't educated about it. Do you feel like it's really important for an artist to expand their knowledge on not just what they're doing, but the business side of what they're doing?
Absolutely. I was fortunate that growing up, my dad has always run his own business. So I kind of grew up having like that entrepreneurial hat on and listening to his conversations. So when I finished my training and I started going on auditions and things like that, I really just wanted to be like a sponge and soak up as much as I could in auditions, casting calls, rehearsals, auditions. I think as dancers, of course, we're athletes and we're artists, but at the end of the day, this is show business. And if anything has been shown during this coronavirus time, is that it is a business at the end of the day. Broadway has shut down and it has significantly taken a hit. Productions, like multi-million-dollar productions, have taken hits as well. So just kind of knowing that hat is not always going to be put on, because I think as dancers, like, you still want to lead with your artistry. You still want to hone those skills, but you also need to hone the skill of looking at yourself as a business and how could you put the best version of yourself out there? How can you build genuine relationships with people? I don't like the word networking. I build genuine relationships with people, and just kind of things like that. Yeah.
I feel like that's really what kind of allowed us to become friends. Like, our first conversation was so real and so like authentic and genuine and like real, that it allowed us to know that we weren't masking anything about who we were as people. And for those that don't know, like, we were in a cast of 22 people, so it's a lot of fresh new faces. I think I only knew one person prior to that contract, whereas I think you didn't know anybody, right?
I didn't know anyone.
Exactly. And then my one person was by passing. So like, it was by passing in the same city, of course, but we understood each other and had kind of seen each other by work wise. But as far as like a true cast, I really was new to it was really fresh and new for me as well, to everybody. And so to meet such a genuine person like you, it holds that you would want your business aspect of life to be in the same way, where it comes from a genuine and loving space. Because it's very easy for us as people to kind of put up a facade if nobody knows who we are. So I love that.
I agree.
I love that a lot. How important do you think it is to make business connections? Like, how do you feel like that has really helped you with where you are now, where you have been, where you are going? What do you think that has done for you?
I think I owe my career to a lot of the genuine relationships that I have built along the way. I don't want it to come across as like it's a matter of like who you know or anything like that. It really comes down to building those genuine relationships and having being your most authentic self. Why you and I connected so well was because I was me and you were you.
Yeah.
And we just clicked.
Yeah.
You know? I think building those business connections are going into it with the mindset of not, what can this person give me? What can I get from this person? Not, you know, I know that this person worked with this artist and I'm going to use that. You know what I mean? Like that, no. If you were to get work through that connection, great. If not, you're learning, you're growing. I have to say a lot of the work that I have on my resume has been people vouching for me to investors, to showrunners, saying, hey, I worked with this girl, or hey, I know her, she's a hard worker, she gets the job done, she's happy, you know what I mean? Like all these things.
Right.
And because again, going back to it being a business, in these shows that we do, like we may not really think about it, but sometimes like millions of dollars go into these productions. They want to make sure that someone's not oversleeping, that someone's actually, like, your job is to learn the choreography and perform full out every time. You know, this isn't a class, this is work now.
One job. You have one job. Be the performer you were hired to be.
Exactly. So I definitely think building those business connections, just being genuine and real, works wonders. And,
I love it.
You know,
I love it. I love it. I love it. Do these real quick, because I can cut everything. All right. So I want to see which one I want to ask.
Oh, I'm nervous.
I'm like, okay. What do you see is a benefit of learning and knowing more about business that has like progressed you? Like, I know that we were like, okay, yeah, knowing about business is one thing, but things that I've learned about knowing about business is a totally different sector. Like, what is something, like one tip you would give somebody that you're like, okay, this is something I learned that I literally stick to?
Okay, a lot of things just like came into mind.
You're like,
I think just touching on genuine relationships and building those business connections. One thing that I do on every job is I handwrite notes just saying thank you. And like that's it. It's not, hey, can you keep me in mind for when you, none of that. It's
simply
thank you so much for this opportunity. Holy crap, I learned so much from you. I added you on Facebook, like, you know what I mean? Like, just being
we
real,
created
being
a friendship,
person.
for real.
Yeah, you know, I think that that's something that is so personal and so real. And you know, don't write a thank you note if that's not your thing. For me, it is, and I always try to find just like one thoughtful thing like that to do on a job.
Right.
And then the other thing that I would say, and I'm kind of slacking on this, but social media, because especially now with Corona, everything is virtual. So you never know, one, who's looking at your stuff, and two, you never know who, maybe you take their class, or maybe you've worked with them before, and they want to say, hey, you know, check out this girl's Instagram, or hey, check out this person's website. That literally just happened to me the other day. I got submitted for work, and it all happens within 2 hours.
Right.
And it was because they looked at my Instagram and my website, because all my stuff was there. And I was like, wow, like, thank God that I had that set up. And so I think those two things are so crucial.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready, as they say. It's very important. I feel like that is a big thing, is like knowing who you are is one thing. Like, and I love that you said that at the beginning of our conversation, is that your business right now is you. And that's important. A lot of artists don't even look at it that way. Like, you are your business. You are literally a walking representation of who your business is and what your business is by what you're doing, because your name is on it. And so when your name is on it, like even me, like this is called the BZY-B Wine Down, and although the name bounces and on it, it's every bit of who I am as a person. We're talking about everything that makes me me. So how can I reflect how important this is to me? How can I reflect how important dance is to me? By me doing it and me having it organized and ready. And as you just said, like your website was ready, your Instagram was ready, and all your stuff referenced who you are as a person, which allows them to understand you take your business serious. And I think a lot of people miss that note in business in itself, is that you don't have to major in it and you don't have to go to school for it to understand what it is.
Yeah.
Internet is a great source, and also in every job, which is something that we both do, is in every job that we're working, our eyes are open to what's going on around us, not just on what we're doing as a person, as a performer, but we're also looking at the behind the scenes and management, how they maneuver around and how they work around it, because in order to be a smart artist, you have to know everything.
And one thing that I would just add to that too is also just knowing who you are, because you know, so many people kind of get caught up in the whole branding and like colors and like what do I wear and like blah 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 blah. Literally just be you, and that'll come through. Nothing's worse than seeing nothing's worse than like seeing someone, dancer, whoever, that it's like you're just all over the road, and then you get overwhelmed, and then you get turned off, and then you're not going to get the job.
Right.
You know, but if you're just authentically you, I say it like this because I'm so honest and blunt, and I'm just me. Either you love me or you hate me. You either have like polar opposite feelings.
There's no gray.
There's no gray area, and I would rather have that, so that way I stick to the people who I love and who love me, and I get traction there. And then I don't even waste my time or energy on the people that don't. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I love that. Oh my gosh, I love every bit of it's basically going back to what we said, knowing who you are, like literally knowing who you are, and knowing how to put your foot down about what you deserve, the respect you need to receive, the effort you're giving on this job, and the effort you deserve to receive back. Because if you're going to give your all, somebody should give their all into respecting you as well. And I know sometimes that's a hard thing for people to understand, especially like on set. You're like, I don't want to step on toes, I don't want to do this. But when you feel uncomfortable on a job, or you don't feel like it suits what is best for you, it's okay to step away. And I think that's something in this generation that a lot of people business-wise don't understand, is like, as a business, you have to know how to say no, and it's not okay. And now I guess we're seeing that now. A lot of people the dark is coming into the light, and we're seeing a lot of stuff going on in the dance industry that should have been talked about a long time ago. But let's just be real, people weren't willing to speak up because they didn't know that it was okay to. But it's okay to stand up for what you believe in, and especially business wise. And a lot of people get screwed over because they're not mentally or educated by what is going on and what needs to be done. So I love that. I love that you're letting people know that it's true. Like, you have to stay true to yourself. And one thing that any human being should know is the respect they deserve.
Absolutely.
Sure. What would you say when you're on jobs? Are you comfortable talking about contracts, or is it something that you're still learning about, or is it something that you're like, oh, hell no, absolutely not? Like, contracts give me anxiety. I know that they can, but what do you feel like you do with contracts? Do you feel like you're comfortable to speak on them if you ever see something like you're like questionable about, or are you like, no, I definitely don't do the contract thing?
Right. No, honestly, I love it, which is kind of weird. I personally love taking time. I'll send an email once a contract is offered, and I ask them if, what's the time limit that we're working with. However, I will say that legally, depending on what state, you'll always have 24 to 48 hours to review a contract.
Right.
And I'm not giving legal advice, so don't come at me. But you will have like at least 24 hours to look through it. And there was actually one contract for, I won't say what it was for specifically, but it's for representation in New York for modeling, actually. And there were a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
And so I was fortunate enough to have a family friend who is a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I just had her look it over.
Yeah.
She highlighted like almost every other line, and she was like, this is not okay. This is not legal. This is not standard.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough that even in that one session with her, I was like, wow, okay, now I know what to look for. It's even an investment to do that just for one contract, even if it's okay, or whatever. And what had ended up happening was I tried to negotiate the contract with
said person,
these people, and were like, and then they tried to kind of back me into a corner, and were like, well, people have signed with us under XYZ, if you want a successful career. And I respectfully declined because I wasn't comfortable under the length of time. I wasn't comfortable with selling my image, certain things, and I just respectfully declined and wished them the best, and no bad blood whatsoever. But then eventually other things had evolved, that you just never know what could happen. So it's okay to say, hey, this isn't for me. Just know that there's something else out there for you. Just trust in that.
Where have you said, what can you say about your business connections? Like, what do you feel like your business, where they've taken you? Do you feel like what jobs have you, like, specifically, can you say, like, this really got me here just because of the, like, genuine relationship I created, the connection I could continue to have, the, just like, what business connections, what do you feel like, where have they gotten you?
Oh my gosh, I even want to start back to Royal Caribbean, right? Kind of that was my first long-term contract, and honestly, it's just been a domino effect since that. I've been fortunate enough to work with U-Bound with the Royal Caribbean cruise line, and then we worked with Kevin Wilson, the choreographer of Sequins and Feathers, and really just made a genuine connection. And he's amazing. Love him. Love you.
Love him. Shout out to you, Kevin. Cheers.
Yes. Cheers. And then from there, what was it? 2 years later, we got to do Mary Kay together
in Dallas, in my hometown.
And then got to meet an incredible team there. And Kevin was also choreographing that as well. And for me, specifically working on that Mary Kay project, it opens up my eyes to the fact that I could do commercial hip-hop heels. That was kind of I had an identity crisis almost as a dancer of do I do theater and Broadway and Rockettes, or do I go where I'm getting traction and where I'm booking a lot of jobs, which was hip hop and heels. Sorry, I'm just hearing my dad downstairs. Living at home, hey. But no, since that, it's kind of just evolved into okay, wow, I can do this. And I felt it was that aha moment. And from there, I've been fortunate enough to do some TV and film stuff in New York that year after. And I think that was a breakthrough moment. But it started back on my first contract with Royal Caribbean, and just was a domino effect since then, and can only grow from that as well. you know?
Well, and even in that, like as dancers, we kind of had to like play the role of a swing too, because you just never knew what was going on in a cast of 22.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could happen, and we had to adjust. And I know for a moment you were like, I had to like come in for up there with y'all, and I'm like one of the smallest people, and they're like, oh yeah, we need you on the big wings, like we need you with the other girls. That show, I really didn't dance that much, but like the moment like I was like, okay, I'm ready for swing life. And like you said, Kevin and Marcel Wilson, we definitely have had the pleasure of working with them. I know we both worked with Kevin in Dallas, but then I've worked with them with E Plus, who contracted through Royal, who we both worked for. E Plus had me hired for the Christmas show, and I've done a couple other things for them, but I know those connections for the both of us have been a blessing, especially working with Kevin, because he has such a big network and connections business wise that we've connected business wise with him as individual contractors, and now he's like, I trust them enough to know that I can bring them in for me and know that they're going to deliver what I'm looking for. And I feel like that's the biggest thing in any business, not just dance or not just being an artist, but just in general as people. When you're creating and connecting with people, making sure that you're literally, as we've been saying, reflecting who you are as a person, because outside of business, they're going to want to have a personal relationship with you. If you don't have a personal relationship and it's all business, eventually it's not going to go anywhere. Like, you can't just sit and talk to people and think that I can just talk about business all day. Then they're going to be like, oh, it's just a business relationship. And I don't know if you agree, but for me, I don't like just a business relationship. There are some people I will just have a business relationship with because I know that that's what's needed. But as far as like in general, most of the time I want to have something genuine and loving and family wise, because I like longevity over numbers. Like I would rather connect where I can use you over and over again and work with you over and over again and expand as an artist. For
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is for you, what is your biggest goal outside of like starting at the end of the year? What is something in the next like couple months that you really want to do? Or something that you know you're about to start doing and that you've seen that you've grown on, and it's like, okay, this job came because I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Are you talking about what I called you?
Yes!
All right, so story time.
We get excuses on here.
Yeah. So again, just kind of going back to those genuine relationships, I had taken a class here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and connected with the instructor. She's incredible. And just kind of maintained that relationship through social media. And she messaged me kind of out of the blue yesterday, I want to say it was, and was asking me like what my major credits were and if I was in Charlotte full time right now. So I sent all that stuff over to her, and fast forward to like an hour later, I was getting a message from an agency in Atlanta that they wanted to submit me for an upcoming feature film. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I was just praying about this the other day. Like, I'm ready for like whatever this next step is in my life. Open for it, open heart, open mind. Yeah. And then this kind of just like fell into my lap. But the crazy part is that it's not a dance job, it's to choreograph. And so for a feature film, it's SAG. And I was just totally like blown away that, you know, this was happening. But again, just being ready for that moment, having my website done, like she sent over all of my stuff and I literally had no idea. I was literally like at work during the day. And again, like it just kind of goes to show like being ready for when that opportunity presents itself, having your stuff updated, easy to read, easy to access, and just building those relationships. Like how crazy that sweet girl thought of me, you know, and recommended me and spoke so highly of me. I only took maybe 2 of her classes, you know, and of course, like, maintained it afterwards. But it just goes to show, if you're being your most authentic self, like, that leaves an impression on people. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but, like, it just goes to show, like, just being a good person at the end of the day, I think, is most important. And that was taught to me in my training at Broadway Dance Center, was, at the end of the day, just be a good person.
Right.
You know, and things will happen and evolve, and things will fall the way they're meant to. You know?
They're always going to. What's for you is for you, and it always will be for you. Oh my gosh. Well, please let the people know where they can stay connected with you, where they can you know, be involved with what you're doing, where they can support you. Let them know how they can stay connected.
Yes, so I would say Instagram is my most poppin' platform. And you can follow me at Tess, Tess _ Liantonio, Liantonio. And feel free to, like, send me a message, reach out to me. I love getting to, like, meet new people and connect with them. And I post all of my classes and workshops and all that good stuff on my social media.
Yay, y'all. Please put it up. This is my best friend, literally from 2018 until now. She has been rocking with me for 2 years straight. She was my daughter first, but ended up becoming more than that.
Grew up.
A friend. Grew up on me. But I'm so grateful for you coming on and talking with me and having this time. Cheers to you and all your success.
Cheers.
I can't wait to continue cheering you on.
Thank you, and same goes to you.
Cheers to y'all. This is another episode of the BZY-B Wind Down. I can't wait to see y'all next Wednesday and Saturday for another episode and new guests. Until next time, I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out. Bounces out.